Hello and welcome. This is Casey and I am here to do a brief Iridology lesson for you on the Lymphatic Rosary. So the Lymphatic Rosary is a fairly commonly well-known term used in Iridology. It is referring to the lymphatic tophus or tophi that manifests within the lymphatic zone in the iris, indicating lymphatic congestion. Okay, so this would be all these little clouds of lymph, fondly referred to as the lymphatic rosary. And for the most part, they're most commonly found in their zone, so inside the skin zone. So the skin is at the edge of the periphery of the iris, so inside of that is the lymphatic zone. And they're also quite often manifesting in a full circle or rosary. So hence the terminology. Okay, so lymphatic tophus for singular, tophi for plural. Lymphatic rosary is the term you will hear quite often. And it does indicate congestion, stagnation, swelling, and enlargement of the lymphatic tissue. And it does depend on what color the clouds are. So obviously this is a black and white drawing. These are white lymphatic tophi, so they would be more in the acute stage. Once they get into the cream, the off-whites, the creams, the more subdued, even yellow, tan, light brown, there's all variations. That's going to show you that the lymphatic congestion has gone past the acute stage into the subacute or into the chronic or even into the degenerative. Okay, and then one other thing so this is how you see them. This is the area that you will find them in. And there's a few subtleties, of course, that are going to help you understand more of what they're trying to teach the person whose iris they belong to. So the color is one, as I mentioned. Where they are in the iris is another. So if you have a lymphatic tophus down here in the foot area, that could be saying that there is some congestion in the thigh, knee, foot, but it's not necessarily saying like this is the lymph node exactly or the lymphatic organ that is related to this specific area. No. A lot of times it is true that there will be congestion in the area that you see them, and that will be inside, so towards the pupil, but that's not always the case. What I see them as for the most part is they're indicating a systemic lymphatic congestion. And when someone has systemic lymphatic congestion, it's more of a body type. I see it as. In Ayurveda, it would be the kapha body type, and that is the body type that's made more of the earth and water elements predominantly. So we all have, the 5 elements to some varying degree within our bodies, but the kapha body type is more solid, also more fluid. Emotionally speaking, they are reliable, sweet, kind people. That's Ayurveda, and that would be the Kapha body type. So if you do have a lymphatic rosary, or if you just deal with a lot of lymphatic congestion and you're interested in all, the body types, you might want to look into that. But there are also some very real physical features with this type, with this lymphatic congestive type, and that is, you will see a lot of times there is an excess of cellulite, edema, so there can be like a puffiness, a bloatiness when you touch this person's skin. And you can even see in the case where there is a lot of stagnation, it's like there is this sort of congestion, this sort of cellulite-like congestion throughout the body. And when you get into cellulitis, that's more of an inflammation. So we're getting into more of the chronic stages with that. So it doesn't necessarily indicate a person who is going to be overweight. In fact, they can be thin people, but they have swelling or congestion around the ankles, or just more cellulite and fat in their body than you would imagine for their weight. Okay, so that's kind of the basic type of the Kapha personality and body type, and then how I see when someone does have a lymphatic rosary, for me, it usually fits into that body type. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple. I think I have 3 different eyes. To look at. Okay, so we have, this is probably one of the more stronger constitutions that I have worked with. This person is really, really strong constitution. The unfortunately ever rare silk constitution. So we have very, very closely woven, just straight trabecula. And there are some challenges as well. So you can see that she's got a lot of inflammation. You can see that there is some excess cholesterol. Her cholesterol is really high. She's had that tested. You can see the shimmer up at the top also. And then aside from that, and some spasticity in the digestive system, aside from that, a couple of minor genetic weaknesses or passes, minor. Other than that, very, very strong constitution. I wanted to use this one as an example for the lymphatic rosary because you can see there's a lot of lymphatic congestion in the outside and the periphery, real close to that skin zone. So the lymphatic system and the skin, the circulatory and the integumentary, excuse me, so yes, the lymphatic and the circulatory and the integumentary are all very much connected. So if you have problems with the lymphatic system, a lot of times you're going to see that in the skin. So you can see there's congestion in the lymphatic system, and then there's also a bit of a skin ring. But I chose this because the lymphatic tophi are darker on the very, very edge. So we have darker congestion in the outside periphery, and then we have brighter, whiter lymphatic tophi closer to the center. So what this means is that the congestion has been so chronic that it's actually retreating. So we have lymphatic congestion retreating deeper into the deeper tissues of the body. And then that is the brighter white. So we have more acute. So we have, let's see, right in here, right in here. So these would be more acute, and then even a lot of lymphatic congestion up in the bowel wall area could even be indicating some mucoid plaque congestion, definitely in the digestive system. So anyway, here we have pretty major congestion in the heart area. That is one thing this person does have, is a hereditary history of heart imbalance, but you can see how it's extra white, more in the acute phase in this heart area. Okay, so that would be the lymphatic rosary for that eye. And just have a couple more. I have a couple more showing how they progress. So we are getting into the creams, the yellows, even you could almost say that's a little sulfury in there, but it could also be chronic lymphatic congestion, probably both. In there, meaning in the bowel area. Interesting, huh? Like, I haven't played with the color on this at all. But there is a lot of lymphatic congestion. You can see we have the standard lymphatic tophi. And then we can see how it has gotten darker towards the center of the iris, but that these actual clouds are what we're focusing on for this video. So there is a whole, obviously iridology is its own science, but it's almost a sub-science within a sub-science when you're talking about lymphatic congestion in the iris, because it's actually more than just, the lymphatic rosary. You also are able to see with this discoloration how lymphatic congestion moves through the system systemically. And I want to stay focused on our topic. So we have, yeah, I'll say that's enough to circle. And then the next one, we are getting into more the chronic and degenerative. Okay, so this is a really interesting eye. This you would think would be a brown eye. It is a brown eye. I don't see any blue, but it's not, the color is not reflecting the actual true brown eye texture, which does not have, you cannot see the striations in the trabecula. It's more of a velvet texture, and this I would say is more of a cotton. This is actually a strong constitution, but there's a lot of lymphatic congestion, and it's super fascinating because you can see all the different colors. This could be lighting. This could be lighting, but there's sort of white in here. And then you see this one right here. It's like a light orangish. And then this one's darker, so this one's more progressed. Here's another one. So this is a person who is chronically congested, lymphatically speaking. Healthy person, you wouldn't really assume there's anything going on with them. But there is that, like I was saying, the telltale signs of lymphatic congestion in that level of cellulite and edema. This is also a great example of how a blue eye turns brown over time. And how it can be, like I was just saying, the sciences within the sciences within the science of iridology, is that this is a good eye that shows you how lymphatic congestion in the form of the rosary also appears more evenly throughout the eye. All of this up in here. So you can see this big spot right in here that's kind of related to the head and brain and the transverse colon. Okay, so I really want to keep this quick, and I do have a page on my site for lymphatic congestion. I just want to do it real quick. You will need a magnifying glass or a camera to be able to spot this in people's eyes. For the most part, you're not going to be able to just see it in plain sight. And there are several herbs that are very effective for lymphatic congestion. My one favorite go-to would probably be cleavers, but there are several. Echinacea, mullein. Mulleine's really good. The golden seal root. There are several herbs, but you do want to keep in mind that you're looking at getting the kidneys filtering, because that is what absolutely is imperative, that your kidneys are filtering out the acids, whatever your lymph nodes are not able to process. So your lymph nodes are like your septic tanks. And whatever they are not able to process eventually gets thrown to the kidneys. Okay, I think that's it for now, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.